Would you be happier if you were richer? The answer is, well, you may think you are, but you might not actually be. So in this video, I'm going to explain that. This is part of my little tribute series I'm doing to Daniel Kahneman, who unfortunately passed away this month, but he was a pioneer in the field of behavioral economics and really bringing like psychology into practical application in decision making, perception, economics, etc. And so this is based on a paper titled, appropriately, Would You Be Happier If You Were Richer? By Kahneman, Kruger, Schady, and Schwartz. And what they explain in this paper is that we tend to overestimate the impact of money because changes in income elicit a strong emotional reaction, but over time, those changes aren't very persistent. So what they explain in this paper is they basically talk about something called the focusing illusion. In fact, actually focusing illusions in the title of the paper. And they basically explain it as this. So there's a separate study that asks people to basically rate their level of happiness from 1 to 10 and then answer how many dates they've been on in the last 2 to 3 months. So when you ask it in that order, there's pretty much no correlation. But when you ask it in the other order, so you first ask people, hey, how many dates have you been on in the last 2 to 3 months? And then how happy are you? There is a 0.66 correlation, which means that by priming people to think about their dating life, how satisfied they are with their dating life has a disproportionate impact on how happy they rate themselves, right? And so this is what the focusing illusion means, is that anytime we focus on a specific element of our life, it tends to sort of disproportionately impact our construction of our own life assessment. So same example, if I were to just ask you, hey, how happy are you from like 1 to 10? Maybe you say an 8. And then I were to ask you, hey, how much money did you make this year? And you answer and I said, okay, and how happy are you from 1 to 10? It's really going to be kind of based on how you feel about your income that's going to color your answer to the question about happiness. And so the reason we see this coming up with when I ask the question of like, would more money make you happier? Or if you were richer, would you be happier? When you look at the kind of patterns between income and happiness in people's lives, what we tend to see is that actual in the moment experiences of positive emotion do not increase that substantially with wealth, particularly beyond a point that is, having adjusted for inflation, is around $112,000 per year. But beyond that point, we don't see like moment to moment, day by day, that you are in like a much better mood. But interestingly, what they do see is that life evaluation, so when you step back and say, how good is my life from 1 to 10, that does continue to increase more with income. And so, again, what we see is evidence of the focusing illusion, that income doesn't really change how we feel moment to moment. It doesn't make us happier day by day. But when we step back and someone asks us, how happy are you? We try to like use a benchmark or some sort of like baseline thing to kind of anchor our assessments of happiness. And ultimately, because one of the main things that we use in our culture to determine status and just how you're doing in life is income, we tend to focus a little bit too much on this variable. And so what we find from this paper is when I ask the question, would more money make you happier, or would you be happier if you were richer? The answer is, like I said at the beginning of the video, that in the purest sense of your experience of life and your quality of life, there would not be that much material change. But if someone were to ask you about your level of happiness or life satisfaction, particularly if you happen to be thinking about your income or had a change in income, then you likely would report yourself as being a little bit happier if you had higher income. So kind of interesting to get at the nuances here of this relationship between money and happiness. And I think the big takeaway here is, of course, that while I think it's great to pursue greater income and earning more money, that ultimately your day-to-day experience of happiness and positive emotion, it may be better to prioritize other things or other sources of happiness and well-being. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Here's a video that I think you'll like based on kind of some similar topics and things like that. And that's all for now. So this has been your happiness nerd, Jackson Kirchis, and I'll see you next time.